Hi, everybody. Welcome to LLK number 20. That is Knit with Laura and Lola. I am Laura Nelkin. I am a knitwear designer who lives in upstate New York, and I am sometimes joined by my alter ego Lola, who is an awful lot of fun. I was super surprised today to see that this is log number 20. And if you're new to my YouTube channel or you want to watch more when they come out, just click the subscribe button below and the little belly thing, and then you'll get an email when a new log comes out. Having fun doing these, rather enjoying them. Tonight, I mentioned to my husband that once the painters left and things were chilling out, that I was going to shoot a log, and it came out of my mouth perfectly naturally. Like, I'm just going to shoot a log in the backyard, and he was like, "Shoot a log? Like, we're getting a gun and shooting logs, or is that a new way of saying going to the bathroom?" It was kind of confusing, but now we know what shooting a log means, and it is filming a YouTube video for you guys. Welcome to my world. I have a lot to tell you about today. It's been, I think, 2 weeks since my last log, which is a schedule I'm kind of loosely trying to keep to. It feels like if I do one every 2 weeks, I've got things to tell you about. The first thing is, many of you know that I have a line of kits. Most of them have beads, not all of them do. They're all available in my shop. And every summer I have something that's called a kit along, which is like a knit along for my kits. It happens in my Ravelry group. There are weekly prizes and a final grand prize. Traditionally, I've done a kit along because I'm traveling a lot in the summer, and it's a way of not having to support like a new design that people haven't had to not knit before, but still have some kind of fun knit along going in the group. And this year, people have been kind of what I would almost call pandemic buying kits. So I know a lot of you have kits that you could get around to knitting, and I'm home and happy to support you in doing that. So we have a kit along going in the Ravelry group. The link will be below here in the show notes and then over in my Ravelry group. And there are already, as of today, I'm shooting this on Monday evening, there's already almost 100 projects listed in there. We already had our first weekly prize. In times past, when I've done knit-alongs, I tend to go like stash diving, or I'm traveling a lot and like going to yarn festivals and teaching at guilds, and I'll buy yarn while I'm traveling and use that as my prizes. But clearly this year, right now anyway, I'm not traveling so much, and I decided it would be fun to buy gift certificates from different BIPOC dyers and share those with you guys. So those are the weekly prizes. This week was a September club membership to Lady Dyes Club, September Latinx Club, and I wrote down the other ones. The next weekly prize is to Neighborhood Fiber Company, and that's going to be a gift certificate. And then Destination Yarn, A Verb for Keeping Warm, Mitchell's Creations, and Essence of Autumn. So those are all going to be $50 gift certificates, which is a pretty awesome prize, and like worth you joining in. And I feel really good that I'm able to support those dyers. Even if I'm not able to design with everybody's yarn, I can support them by purchasing gift certificates from them. I feel pretty strongly about buying prizes for you guys. I used to kind of get donations for them, but I love being able to support people. You can see my neighbors coming in and out here behind me. Looks like, I don't know where they're going. Somebody pulling into our driveway, maybe. No idea. Sorry, I'm highly distractible. I feel very good about purchasing prizes. It helps me support other people. It introduces you guys to new dyers. It's kind of like win-win for all of us. That's how I look at that. That is the kit along. I hope that you can join us. If you haven't done a knit along with me before, I try to keep them easy and fun, and just ask questions if you're learning how to use Ravelry. We're happy to help you guys with that. Next up, I got a new shawl that just released, and I have it right here. I got to lean down into my basket, and it is called the Bless Your Heart shawl. And it is a shawl version of my Bless Your Heart scarf. And it is knit with Fiber Space Cumulus. I think I showed this to you guys a few logs ago when I was knitting on it. It's knit with Fiber Space Cumulus, which is a silk and alpaca kind of lace weight mohair style. It's a brush suri alpaca. It does not have any mohair in it. It is absolutely scrumptious yarn. I designed, I believe it was the March, no, not the March, April, May. How this time is flying. It was May's Lola's Choice kit was, didn't grab it. The Bless Your Heart scarf, which is a scarf version of this shawl. You guys are just, I'm not editing this, so I can sound like an idiot and hopefully you won't care. So the scarf version used the exact same stitch, and when I finished knitting it, I was like, oh, I really want to knit that again, and I think it would make a great shawl. So this is a bottom-up triangular shawl. It took me a bit to figure out how to get the stitch to fit into the triangular shaping, but I love a good shawl shaping challenge, so that was really fun for me. And this one uses 2 skeins of the Cumulus, and it has more beads in it. So of course I had to make kits. You know I did. And the kits look like this. They've got 2 skeins of Cumulus, they've got beads, they've got a download code, and a piece of super floss for placing your beads in there. Everything you need to knit except the knitting needles. I don't include knitting needles in kits because I feel like people have a lot of knitting needles at home and don't need more, and you might need a different size to get gauge, whatever. I hope that makes sense. Ask me questions about this kit if you have any. If you were in Lola's Choice in May and you got the scarf pattern as part of your kit shipment, I am emailing you a coupon code to also get the shawl. So you can only get that if you got in May's club. I just feel like it's an extra. They're so similar to each other. And I want to thank you guys for being part of that club. Clubs are so fun for me to do. And I'm kind of loving them more and more lately. They're really creating this strong sense of community I'm really enjoying. I am not trying this on for you, not because I don't love to wear it, but because it is 90 degrees out and I'm attempting to stay cool, and I can just feel myself getting hotter and hotter as I talk to you. So forgive me for not trying it on right now. But that is Bless Your Heart shawl, and I know some of you have been waiting for it just a little while. And yeah, I'm going to tell you about my hat. So if you don't know about that, don't worry, it's coming. Next up, Lola's Choice, which is my small bi-monthly kit club. That kit shipped at the beginning of July, and I think most of you have received it right now. I know not everybody has, but most have, and I shipped them over a week ago, and I typically give it a week before I show you guys what the design was. So July's design is very functional. I think it's the most functional thing that Lola has ever designed. And Lola was basically like, I don't think we need another necklace right now because we can't really go anywhere because of the pandemic. So maybe we should make a bag for going to the farm or going to the farmer's market, because that is one of the places that we're allowed to go right now and we can go safely. So Lola designed a bag, and it ended up being called the Farmstand Sack. This bag had like 62 names before it finally got named. I can't tell you how many different text threads I had while we were naming this bag, because I was going to call it the CSA Sack. I belong to a CSA, which is Community Supported Agriculture, for those of you who don't know. And it's basically like buying a farm share, and I go to the farm every week and pick up a share from the farm. So I was calling it the CSA Sack. And then one of my test knitters didn't quite know what CSA meant, so she went and looked it up. And one of the other meanings of CSA is the Confederate States of America. And I did not feel comfortable naming it that, even though we all know what I was naming it after. But I feel like in this climate, that is why we research things, and we are careful as all get out right now. I mean, we always should be, not even right now. From now going forward, I'm awake, right? And I'm realizing I wasn't comfortable with that. So then I started kind of being like, well, I don't want to call it market bag because there's already a lot of market bags on Ravelry. And then one of my friends thought maybe we could call it Farmer Lola's Sack. And I'm going to splash up a photo right here so you get an idea of why we came up with calling it Farmer Lola's Sack. And then my very funny friend Debbie was like, let's call it Lola's Love Sack. And that's pretty funny, but I just didn't, sounds a tiny bit inappropriate. So I affectionately do call this Lola's Love Sack, but we went with Farmstand Sack because it just fits it perfectly. Construction wise, I want to tell you about it. It is knit from the bottom center out with basically pie shawl shaping for the beginner. So you cast on in the round, and the first few rounds are fiddly, and then as you work out and work the increases, you can get onto like a 16-inch or 24-inch double-sided needle. Sorry, not double-sided, circular needle, and that makes things go much faster. And then you continue to work around. This is what's called a cat's eye stitch. I really love this mesh stitch. I hadn't done it before, and it just flies off the needles. It's really easy to see once you start to work this stitch. And then when you get up to the top, you work garter stitch along the top, and then there's a point where you're binding off stitches and then putting stitches on a holder and then working the straps. And finally, if you want to put a button on it, there's a little button flap where you've held stitches for the button flap, and you work that flap, and then you put a button on there, and that button can just go right through. And I want to tell you about these buttons because they're so beautiful. So these buttons are made by my friend Melissa Jean, and I met her at Rhinebeck years ago, years and years ago now. I want to, maybe even 10 years ago. And there were a few years where she sold my kits in her booth, and that was really fun, and we had a good time. I would kind of swoop in and out, and I've always loved her buttons. I've designed with them before, but I knew that she wasn't doing any shows this year because the show market has completely dried up. So I was like, do you sell buttons wholesale? Could I buy a few hundred of the 7/8 inch swirl button? Because I had one in my stash and I had tried it. I think it was on, sorry, the one in my lap. Where did I go? This one was the initial one I designed the first bag with. And this one's actually one size up from what I included in the kits. And the reason, isn't that so pretty? The reason I went down to the smaller one is I found that this one was just a little bit too heavy for the bag. So the smaller button actually fits the bag so much better. It fits through and it sits really nicely. You could see how that other one was a little floppy on there. So Melissa said, yeah, I've got a ton of buttons. Let's do that. So we tried to use what she had in stock because that made it easier for her. She didn't have to like pull out her kiln and throw more and paint more. So I ended up with, I think, 12 different colors of buttons. So this is the first time that I've ever not shipped out the exact same kit in Lolas Choice to everybody, and I think it's going pretty well. I haven't heard about it. I was nervous about that because that's, you know, we have strong preferences about color, but there were so many different colors, all the colors I loved. I would have been happy to receive any one of them. I ended up with 8 different colors of Pima 100 from Barocco that matched, oh my, it's getting windy. Things are getting fun out here, guys. 8 different colors of yarn that matched the 12 different colors of buttons. And Belle and I were really careful as we were building the kits to make sure that we were shipping the right buttons with the right kits. Like we did it in waves of color of yarn, and we were pulling out the buttons. And I'm really happy with how this project went. I have just a few kits left. So if you sign up for Lola's Choice now, it's likely that you'll start with this kit. But if I run out, I believe I have the shipment already set to say September. And if you're somebody who needs to re-sign up, if you sign up now, I am checking all the orders before I ship them to make sure that I'm not double shipping you if you already received this. So that's on me. To keep an eye on for you. I hope you guys enjoyed this. It was a little different for me to design something so functional. I think 2 years ago I did a hot pad around Christmas time, and that was fun. Again, that was I think that was an outside in project instead of an inside out project. And Lola is already knitting the September project. It's a tiny bit more challenging. It is something that Lola likes knitting more than I do. I'm giving you guys a few hints here. And it has a stitch that you guys have been asking me to do a design with for a while now. So those are some hints for September's design, and it's what I'm knitting at night right now, but I can't show it to you because we keep these things secret, but the yarn is really fun and I'm having a good time with it. And I'm having such a good time that I'm already working on November's kit as well because I had an idea, and some things take more time than other things, so I'm working on that a bit too. Let's see what else I have to tell you about. If you are somebody who's in Lola's Choice and you want to get more buttons, I'm giving you Melissa Jean's link below. She's happy to have you order from her as well. This is not a kit that I'm going to continue carrying. It's kind of like a one-time thing because I think it's pretty easy to go find some DK weight cotton yarn, which is what Barocco Pima 100 is, which Lola forgot to tell you. And we all have button stashes, or you can go support Melissa and get buttons from her. So that's my story about the Farmstand Sack. Could you guys see me? Whenever I look like that, I'm like looking at my notes. Next up, I'm going to tell you about my hat. If you follow me on Facebook or Instagram, you've already seen my hat at knit night a few weeks ago. I think it was about 3 weeks ago. The sun was like pointing straight in our eyes and we were all super hot and we were like, we need to crochet sun hats. And I came home and I found this pattern online from Make and Do Crew. I think it's called the Fedora Crochet Sun Hat pattern. Maybe it's the Clio Fedora is the exact name of it. And I ordered the yarn that was called for, which was Lion Brand Rewind, and interestingly that yarn just shipped to me. So I got pretty frustrated because I like to start something right away. I'm sure you guys understand that when I get obsessed with making something. And I went to my local yarn store, Homespun, which does not have a website, so I can't link to her, but I'm giving you her phone number below if you want to get any of this yarn. And I found Barocco Estiva, which is a cotton tape. The Lion Brand yarn Rewind is a nylon tape, and it makes a really stiff hat. My friend made one, and it's very, very stiff. It's cool, but it's not as cool temperature-wise as mine because it's polyester and it's knit crocheted, quite densely. So Estiva is 100% cotton. Really, really loved knitting, crocheting. Sorry, I'm like one of those horrible people who doesn't know crochet from knitting. Really loved crocheting this project. The only thing I did different, I should get it so you can see the peyote stitches, is I worked 2 less rounds on the brim, and I did put wire into the brim and I covered it with a tag that was left over from Lola's Choice. I made the small size and I was able to make that in one skein of the Estiva. Even if I had done the 2 extra rounds, it was just like a little too big on me. And there are directions in the pattern for putting wire in. I have more yarn coming from Wool and the Gang. I have a yarn coming called Raffia in like a cinnamony orange color. And that is a plant fiber. It's not cotton. It's like a wood bark fiber, and it's a sport weight. So we'll see. My gauge is going to be different. I think it'll be interesting to see what the hat is like made in that, because I've worn this actually every day since I finished it a few days ago. So clearly I need 2 of them. And I'm going to take off my hat even though my hair is going to be like super scrunchy from wearing it. What's nice about it is it's going to travel really well. It just crushes right down. So it's going to be great for traveling when we ever get to travel again. Let me sit it back so we can see my face a little bit. Love it. And I've seen that a bunch of people are making them too. Those of you who crochet, a bunch of my knit group is crocheting them as well. It's a reminder to me that when I get obsessed about something, that maybe I shouldn't talk about it until I know if it works. Because there was a moment with the Estiva where I was like not sure it was going to work, and people were already purchasing the pattern and purchasing the yarn, and I wouldn't want to like tell you you're good to go on a project and then have me have a complete fail. That would kind of suck, right? That would suck. Lola's love sack. Give me a minute though, because that was not cool. or maybe it was super funny. I don't know. You can tell me what you thought of that one. Can't show you anything I'm working on right now because the other project that's on my needles is the last End Club project. I'm basically trying to get those done so I can start showing you what's on my needles again. The Tasca tunic, which I know I keep talking about, and this is a testament to actually in real life how long it takes to get a pattern out from like concept to me knitting it and being all obsessed to actually being published and released. So Tasca, I think I started talking about this pocket tunic concept in March. I remember I showed you guys a vest that I bought at a local reuse store, at like a vintage clothing store that I bought like the last time I went to town, I think, for like doing any shopping. It was my last shopping outing. And the Baby and Toddler version is almost ready. I still need to shoot the video for how to do the pocket. And I promised myself I would do that this week so that, because Bless Your Heart and Farmstand Sack came out this week, that those could come out hopefully next week. Do you see how I keep pushing it forward? And then the adult versions will come out later in the month. And when the Kit Along ends August 15th, that's when we can start a knit along for Tasca that will bring us into fall, and then you'll have a vest for fall. So that's like my current plan. I really love having, I don't like having knit alongs running at the same time. It's a little challenging for me. I like doing one and then another and another. So Tasca is going to be the next knit along starting in August. I am not going to have kits for that because I don't really do kits that are just yarn. I like to have kits that are yarn and beads or yarn and buttons or clasps or whatever. So we'll have plenty of yarn ideas for you for Tasca and give you guys time to buy kits. Buy yarn, sorry, before we get going with that one. So that's my plan on that. I'm gonna also do a video on the bind off of the Echo earrings. Sometimes what I do with videos is I wait to see how many people have questions about what I'm working on, and I've gotten 2 questions on the bind off on Echo earrings, so I know that means it's worth doing a video for it. So when I set up to do the Tasca video, I'll also set up and do the earring bind off. But if you have questions about that before then, I've written something up, and the 2 people who have asked me, and I've been able to send them something, and they've had success. So please go ahead and do that. I'm always happy to help you. Next up is very good news. By now, you have probably heard that Bluprint was purchased by TN Marketing. TN Marketing is a company out of Minneapolis. From what I can tell, they are already deep into online learning communities. They have like 6 or 8 different online learning communities. I'll post them below. There's like a quilting one and a sewing one, and there's a Fix My Hog one. So if you know somebody who likes to work on Harley Davidsons, there's a community for that they run. There is also a woodworking one. There's a few different communities that they have. So they are not strangers. I believe they already have 6 million subscribers in their existing communities. So they know what they're doing, which is awesome. And they are taking on all of the Bluprint classes. I've heard through the grapevine that there might be a few that they don't continue to stream. But if you have a subscription, it is just rolling over to TN Marketing, so you have access to everything. If you own any classes, those are also rolling over, and you'll have access to them. So that is saving all of our tukuses. I'm so thankful. A deep sigh of relief. I'd love to take bets with you guys about something, because I actually kind of think that I could be so wrong, and like this is Lola and not Laura, and Lola's not contracted with them and Laura is. I kind of think they might end up renaming it Craftsy and having it be the Craftsy community on TNN Marketing instead of using Bluprint. And I'm like 60-40 thinking maybe they're going to go back to Craftsy. I kind of hope they do. I don't know if it totally matters one way or another. It's exactly the same thing. It's going to be very similar to you guys. But what I do want to do is tell you that you're going to make, right for now, I believe until September, you'll just continue to be able to get all of your classes and subscription through Bluprint. But you can't buy any more classes or buy any more subscriptions. So that's only for people who have existing subscriptions and classes. And then in September, they're rolling over to a new platform on hopefully September. I guess the date could change if they need more time. They're rolling over to a new platform that they're building where they're moving all the classes there. And then you will have access to all of your stuff through their new platform. So you won't really have any lag in access. So I understand supposedly all the patterns will be there. What will not be there is they are not, they don't sell physical goods. So they won't have like the yarn line for Cloudborn. But I did have a little mouse tell me that there is a buyer for Cloudborn. So we'll wait and see if that happens. But like fingers crossed, because those are some really nice yarns and it would be a shame for them to be totally gone. But I believe there's a buyer out there for them. So good news. Remember all this time with Bluprint, I was like, let's just wait and see. Maybe there's going to be something, but I couldn't promise you that. And luckily, really good news on that front. So ask me questions if you have any. What I promised to do is what I've already promised to do. As I have information, I will share it with you so you know what's going on. I will not keep any secrets from you unless I'm told I'm not allowed to share something, but what I know, it only helps you to know what's going on. And it helps me for you to know, because then you can tell other people, and the rumor mill gets a little chilled out a little bit, because the rumor mill's driving me insane a tiny bit. Let's get into like non-knitting. Oh, the last thing is Ravelry did the redesign. If you are somebody who's not enjoying the new redesign, you can switch over to the old version of Ravelry. But something a lot of people don't know is my patterns have always been available on my website. As I have patterns go live, I also put them on my website. They do use the Ravelry shopping cart, so you use the Ravelry system to buy the patterns and they end up in your Ravelry library, but you can purchase patterns through my website if you're somebody who is, I know some people are being triggered by the new Ravelry. So if you have, if you're more comfortable visually being on my website, go ahead and use that. That's always been there. If a pattern isn't up on my new website, that's because it's not available to purchase. Like it's part of a club or it's a pattern I'm not, isn't for sale through me. But anything I can sell is also up there. I've been pretty careful about updating that. But Hive Mind, if you ever notice something that's not up there that you think should be up there, let me know and I'll look into that, because that's how I get stuff updated. But I've been pretty religious about updating. Like whenever I release a pattern, I'm putting it up on my site at the same time. Things I do you didn't know about. It's a lot of work goes into a day. And that, to kind of go in conjunction with that, I know I talked to you guys about putting classes up on Teachable, and I'm still thinking about that, but it's a lot of work. And one of the reasons it's a lot of work is because I have to subtitle them all, which is a lot of work in the background. And frankly, I'm super busy doing what I'm doing right now. So at some point, I will do some classes on my own, but it's not going to be in the immediate future. I'm more interested right now in releasing patterns and kits that I can support with you guys with videos to help you with the tricksy bits, because I feel like, or I know that I really love teaching through design, like designing something that has learning points and then teaching them. And that's what I've been doing for a long time. And you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I'm doing that. It works. You guys are enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. And I'm having a hard time wrapping my brain around learning something new right now, because there's enough new happening every day. In my not knitting world, my neighbors are very active today. I've never noticed how much they pull in and out of their driveway at 6 o'clock in the evening. Food wise, it is garlic scape season. So it is the season that garlic puts up its little like flower bit, and that gets cut off before it blooms so that the garlic can put energy into its bulb. And we get those from the CSA, and I have been making what I call it MOJO. It's kind of like this green sauce. I mix up a lot of garlic scapes with cilantro and olive oil and salt and some lemon zest in the blender, and then we keep a bunch of that in the fridge to eat with everything. It's great with steak, it's great with fish, it's great in coleslaw. It is great in deviled eggs, I discovered this weekend. We all have garlic breath together, so we are loving that. And it also freezes really well. So when I make a batch, I freeze half and we save half for eating. So that's been kind of on the food front. Everything has had what I think MOJO is a traditional sauce that's like served with steak in Argentina or Brazil. If you Google MOJO, but we just call it MOJO because it sounds magical. So that's kind of what I've been cooking. I also made some strawberry jam that no one in my house likes but me. Whatever, I'll eat it all. On the reading front, I got invited to an outdoor book group on Friday, and they are reading the 12 Tribes of Hattie by Ayana Mathis. Sorry, I was reading that. And I'm really enjoying it. I'm halfway through the book. I am excited to go to bed at night to read it. It is a generational story, which you guys already know I really like, and it is about a woman called Hattie who has 12 children, and it is about her struggle. Her first two children she loses when they're babies, which is really sad, and it's about her struggles kind of parenting her other children as she has them, because her heart is always broken from losing those babies. I'm sure some of you have already read it. It's been out for a few years, but I'm really enjoying it, and I'm looking forward to a new outdoor 6 feet apart book group on Friday. I'm trying to talk them into meeting at Taganic, which is close for me and far from all of them, but we'll see if I win or not on that one. The other book that I started that I'm also enjoying is the book Women of Troublesome Creek by Michele Richardson. It is about the horseback librarians in Kentucky, and I had read another book, Giver of Stars. I already told you about that. I wasn't sure if I was going to like this book or not, and I'm told it's a completely different perspective. I thought I'd feel like I was reading the same book, which is so silly. I am not reading the same book. They are so different. It's just the same subject, and I really enjoyed that subject the first time around, so there's no reason I wouldn't the second time around. I also finally started doing yoga again since my operation, and I missed it. And my yoga teacher started like a 14-day core challenge, and in yoga class my nickname is Cora because I really love doing core exercises because they keep my back strong. So this challenge has been core exercises every day, and I've done them almost every day. I still need to do today's, but it's so hot I might save it for early tomorrow morning when it's cooler out, because that might be a little more comfortable to do. And finally, on my watching front, I am deep into loving Queen Sugar, which is produced by Oprah Winfrey and Ava DuVernay and Melissa Carter. There are 4 seasons. I'm watching it on Hulu. I think they're also on Amazon, but not all of them are on Prime on Amazon. Set in Louisiana about 3 black siblings whose father owns a sugarcane farm, I guess you would call it, and he passes away and they all inherit it together. And it is about their trials and tribulations. The first season had stuff about Black Lives Matter in it, like the initial round of Black Lives Matter 4 years ago. It is incredibly well done. It is very timely. The music is awesome because they're in Louisiana, and Lola loves some Zydeco, and there's some great Louisiana style music in there. So I highly suggest watching that. That's what I'm knitting the next Lola's Choice to. It's a completely good knit and watch for me. And then on Friday night, I watched Hamilton on Disney Plus. For those of you who signed up for Disney Plus to watch Hamilton, so good. Bella and I had seen it on Broadway a few years back. I had bought her tickets for Christmas. And so she came home from the Adirondacks on Friday so we could watch it together Friday night. And I'd been listening to the soundtrack all week. I love that soundtrack. And we had a great time watching it together. We still have to watch the making of, which I think is also on Disney, and I haven't watched that yet. I'm saving it. Um, and what I can tell you about Hamilton is that when I was a kid, you're probably not going to be surprised by this, but like when I was a kid, I was deep into musical theater. I have a horrible voice, but I really loved singing and dancing and acting. And I would go to like performing arts camp every summer because our parents shipped us off every summer. And I just love musicals. I saw every musical I could when I was a kid. I was lucky that my parents could help make that happen for me. And if I have like one dream, it would be to like it be not, I don't want to be a star, like that's not my thing in a musical, but I would love to like be in a dance troupe, either on an MTV music video or in a Broadway show. And so I get very excited when I watch Broadway shows because I just feel like I want to be like one of those people just dancing with feeling and singing with feeling and supporting the actors and actresses. And I'm really embarrassing myself telling you this right now, but you can just go off and laugh about me on your own. And Hamilton's great. Be happy to be in that dance corps, but the dance corps I really want to be in is for In the Heights, which is going to come out next summer, which is Lin-Manuel Miranda's actually first musical that they also made a movie of. And I think the movie's almost done. It's already shot and filmed. It's in production, but they've decided to release it next summer in hopes that the movie theaters open. But I really want to be in that dance corps. So I'm going to give you guys a link to the preview of for that movie. So if you watch that, you will see what I mean when I say I want to be in a dance corps. I want to be like West Side Story, singing in the streets, dancing, just part of the scene. And actually, that's Lola that wants to do that, not me. I'm super serious, and I'm going to stay home and get some work done while Lola goes and dances on Broadway. All right. Thank you guys so much for listening to me yammer again. This is another one take log. I'll slap a few things up here for you. Show notes down below. Please subscribe. That's how you find out when more of these come out. If you sign up for my mailing list, that's how you find out when there's new patterns and kits and what I'm up to. And I really appreciate you. And please wear your mask when you go out. I know they're annoying, but we want to get over this before forever. Seriously. Love you.